Tammy ended up selling the car to someone else.
Miss Seed, how did you know
Miss Maxwell before you agreed to buy her car?
I used to work with her.
According to your complaint, she had a car she was selling. You decided to buy it. You agreed on a price of $3,500. Miss Maxwell said she would sell you the car, you could pay it off, but she would keep the car until it was paid. As soon as you finished making your last payment, she would sign the title over the car and give it to you. So far, is that correct?
Yes.
You started to make payments on the car, and according to you, you made $1,600 worth of payments.
Yes.
And then you ran into some financial difficulty, and you stopped making payments.
Correct.
And Miss Maxwell sold the car because you hadn't made your payments.
you want your $1,600 back? It says that she used your money
to make the car payments on the car because that was what she had
to do, and that she sold the car for just the difference in what was owed on the car and what you had given her, which was $1,900. That's what you're telling me, is that right?
Yes.
So first, let me see the bill of sale for the car. Okay, well, this says that you're buying it in as-is condition. And did you check the Blue Book price of the car at the time?
Yes, I did.
And what was the Blue Book price of the car?
About $2,500.
So why did you agree to pay $3,500?
Because it had some modifications done to it.
Like what?
It had wheels and tires. It had a...
Wheels and tires usually come with a car. It's very hard to drive a car without wheels and tires.
Custom
what?
Custom wheels and tires.
Yeah.
It had a stereo system in it with subwoofers, so it wasn't stock stereo.
So what do you need that stuff for?
Just a kid wanting to have fun with a nice car, I guess.
When did you sell the car?
September.
Who did you sell the car to?
It's a private party.
Let me see. Bill of sale.
I don't have the bill of sale. I gave it to them to register the car. I have my loan paid off, but $1,823, and so I took $100 and paid off.
You would have a bill of sale from somebody else.
No, I gave it to copy for myself.
Well, you have to. That means I'm due to tell me the truth with regard to how much you sold the car for. You sold it for $100, and she right. Several months later, you sold it for $1,900.
My interest was doubled with the car on it.
No, but are you following me?
Yes, I
Why would you sell to a stranger $100 than it was worth?
to pay off the loan because I could afford.
Doesn't make sense, madam. When you sold it to her at the end of February,
$2,300.
$2,300. So from her, you got $60. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I believe it from somebody else you got, that's right. Well, that was 300. At least I believe 12.
So had on it, drive it for her.
How do I know that? You can't come unjustly enriched at her expense, and you did. If I believe everything she said, and I have no proof that it's not true, so she has to give you back $1,200, which she says she profited. She doesn't realize that she said she profited, but she did. She profited $1,200 worth. That goes to you. The rest of it you've lost.
Okay.
Got it?
Fine.
Judgment for the plaintiff came out to $1,200.
Out of Evgene versus Fonger. Parties have been sworn in, Judge.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Fonger?
Fonger.
And Mr. Evgene.
Correct.
How old are you, sir?
50.
Other than this arrest that you had on this charge of domestic violence, have you ever been arrested?
No.
So this arrest for domestic violence was your first arrest?
For domestic violence, yes.
I'm talking about for anything.
For anything. In 2001, wet reckless.
2001 what?
Wet reckless?
What does that mean?
That is a DUI that was reduced to a wet reckless.
So in 2001 you had one arrest for DUI?
Correct.
Other than that?
That's it.
And how long had you and Miss Fonger been a couple?
We met in April of '06 at rehab.
Nature of your addiction was alcohol?
Alcohol, correct.
And yours?
It was pills.
Your complaint alleges that you were arrested for domestic violence. The incident occurred because Miss Fonger actually assaulted you while you were driving in the car. It is your claim that ultimately
the charges against you were dropped
Correct.
for lack of evidence. The criminal charges. You allege that Ms. Fonger filed for a restraining order. She never showed up. That case was dismissed.
Correct.
Then she filed for another restraining order, and she conned you into not going to court on
Correct.
that one. Told you she was going to drop those charges, so you didn't go to court.
Along with a little loving, yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And then she did go to court and did, in fact, get a protective order.
Correct.
And you want her to compensate you to the tune of $5,000. Ms. Fonger says that you did, in fact, assault her. She's got a counterclaim for her medical bills and punitive damages for the assault. So, I want you to tell me exactly your version of the events, Ms. Fonger, of what happened on the 9th of January, because you also have a claim for certain property that you claim she took while the 2 days that you were in jail before the charges were dropped, and a dog that you claim she took that belonged to you. Okay. Go.
Okay. On January 9th, we were on... Sorry, I'm nervous. We went to Pollock Casino, and we meet people. And that night, he decided not to go to the concert. So he pulled me out, and we went to Temecula Valley.
You said you had been to the concert at the casino.
Halfway.
But you went to the concert.
Right, but only halfway.
Okay. And then he wanted to leave. You were driving the car back, and?
And he was drunk.
Yes.
And he was on drugs.
And?
And then I was yelling and screaming.
And what about you?
I had 4 drinks.
And what about pills?
Nope.
Just alcohol?
Yeah, correct.
I have proof she had pills that night.
What kind of proof do you have?
A week before that, she got 120 somas by forging my doctor's signature.
But how can you prove that she had pills in her system that night?
Her actions, her behavior, it just goes from what
That's
she's...
not proof. Go ahead.
When we got to, actually, between Pollock Casino and Temecula Valley, he hit my head against the wall, or against the window. I was unconscious, and then he kept hitting me. He restrained me, and then the next thing I know was the police were there.
Okay. Go ahead.
Back from the concert, she didn't want to go. She wanted to stay. And with this new friend she had met, party with them, and we were arguing. And then I'm driving, and she attacks me. I have pictures of my face being scratched. And
You wanted to leave the concert early?
I don't think so. No, we left early, but I didn't want to leave early. No.
Do you remember why?
I think it's because the couple that she'd met started making inappropriate remarks towards, like, maybe you guys could sleep in our room tonight and things like that. And I didn't want to stick around.
When had you been drinking that day?
Pretty much from noon until the concert, you know.
And when had the defendant been drinking that day?
Along with me all day long, yeah.
So you were drinking home and you were driving while you were drinking?
No, I wasn't driving while I was
Not while you were drinking, but you had been drinking all day and you got behind the wheel of the car.
That is correct.
So what happened in the car, if you remember?
Oh, I remember. Very nice. She attacked me. I pulled over because it almost
Tell me how
wrecked.
she attacked you.
She came across my face and scratched me. And
Well, what were you arguing about that caused that?
Just that she wanted to stay and I didn't. And she was being just the normal self that she always is when she takes her pills. And I didn't want to, have to take care, because she can't walk or talk after a certain amount of them, and I have to take care of her, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I pull over into a parking lot and try to calm her down. She's running around the parking lot screaming, out of control. I can't calm her down. People call the cops. They come and they arrest me. And then they get
Do you have a police report?
She did.
I'd like to see the police report.
I never did get a police report.
I'd like to see the police report, and I would also like to see the pictures.
Here's the proof of the pills, too. If you know. She just got 120 more of them 2 weeks ago. That's probably why she can't stand up.
No.
You want pills now, Ms. Fonger?
No.
Are you willing to take a drug test?
I'm willing to.
Hair follicle test?
Sure.
We'll arrange for that.
Mr. Evgene,
I'm just asking you, are you prepared to take a hair follicle test?
Yes.
Today?
Yes.
And you will either be exonerated or humiliated.
Don't waste my time. Don't waste his time. If you've taken any, it's going to show up in your hair follicle. Do you get it?
Yes.
Okay? And you would agree that if you lied to me about using drugs now, so you don't have any pills in your system, that I would have serious reservations about everything else that you told me. Do you understand
Correct.
that?
You can test Mr. Evgene, too.
I'm just asking you.
Okay.
His behavior is not yours is.
I'm very nervous.
Nerves. That's more than nerves.
Amen.
Been in the business a long time.
Cases. Judge Judy. Robert Evgene says his ex-fiancée Fonger owes for a false arrest and for the return of his property and his dog. Kimberly is countersuing for medical bills from an assault.
Well, so according to the police, you were both drunk as skunks that day. Both of you. According to the police, you both had visible signs of injury. You had a bloody lip, and he had bloody scratches on his face. They decided to arrest him, right?
Correct.
You deserve to be arrested. You were driving drunk. You had a fight with her. So your statement that her behavior caused you to be arrested, that's not true. She may have contributed to it, but your own behavior caused you to be arrested.
Her behavior was the one
Your
that...
own behavior caused you to be arrested, sir. If you were not drunk, you wouldn't have been put in that situation.
If she had not called attention to everybody and had the cops call...
You're ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's what happens when you drink and drive.
I understand that, but I could have
That's what happens when you drink and drive.
Could have sat in my truck all night and no one would know I've been drunk, you know, unless someone called them. And she's the one that had
Or
them.
unless you hit somebody who was traveling with their 4 children in a car.
That's another story.
That's another story. I have zero
Tolerance.
sympathy for you.
I understand that.
Zero sympathy for you. I have less sympathy for you. But right now, I'm telling you right now, my inclination is to let you, if you're sober now, terrific, but to let you two drunks who were drunk on January 9th go your own way, and whatever happened to you that day, that's it. He was injured, you were injured, he got to spend some time in jail, had to bail himself out, lost a dog, lost some property, which, by the way, you have his property?
No. It's mine.
What property did she take?
The dog, the TV, the VCR, the bed.
How long had you been living together?
3 years.
I'm not bothering with it. That's your problem.
The dog, though, is like a kid. You can't take a kid from you. It's like taking a kid from you. How do you do
You've
that?
been living together for 3 years, is that right?
I paid for everything. It's my dog.
How long have you had the dog?
2.5 years.
Good. Can I see the medical records, please?
Yes. As well, this is the AKC, and it's
This is
wrong.
the medical records.
Yes.
That's what she has.
Thank
And
you.
Your Honor, I have a tape that says the dog's mine.
I don't care what you have. I just told him he's not getting the dog back. This is not the hospital record, madam. This is not a medical record. This tells you what to do in case you have serious vomiting or worsening or a headache or whatever. I'm not interested in that.
That's from the hospital.
Well, it's not enough for me. Will you pass this back to her, please? He had a swollen lip. He had a scratched face. Sounds to me as if you two people who were intoxicated in a car got exactly what you both deserved. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was just waiting to happen. Chip said, you know, you meet day, not the date, and do it.
Don't meet a man.
And now the next
Parties in the matters, Austin, forward.
old Kimberly Frith is suing her mother, Ruth Austin, for spending a settlement check for an injury she received as a young girl.
Mrs. Frith, this is your mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Your complaint alleges that when you were a youngster, 6,
Yes, ma'am.
you were bitten by a dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a lawsuit filed, and there was a settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents got the settlement, your mother and your father. Your parents are divorced now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you turned 18, your father gave you half of
We settled.
the settlement.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want the other half from your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
And your mother says that that money was just used to live.
Yes. Exactly.
Do you have the paperwork on the settlement?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it. I assume, Miss Frith, you and your mom have been at odds.
A little bit, yeah.
How old are you now?
I am 19.
And you live with whom?
Well, I'm staying with my father right now. I'm in the process of moving.
What are you doing?
I'm an in-home support specialist. I work with handicapped children.
Okay. So after the attorney was paid, the entire amount was $2,641. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me how you resolved this with your father.
We settled because he's been paying my cell phone bill for the past 2 years, and I've been staying with him, not paying any rent.
When did you make the arrangement with him with regard to paying your cell phone bill as a quid pro quo of this money?
When I turned 18, because my father also had spent $1,000 of my money when my grandfather passed away, and when I turned 18, he started paying the cell phone bill, and I asked him if he would help me out to go to school, and I'm actually in the process of going to school, and he's given me some money for that.
Well, this money was put into a bank account, was it not, Miss Austin?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Back then, we had no money. We lived in motels. I worked 2 different jobs. Her dad worked shows, you know, flea markets, whatever, and we just didn't have any money.
Was there anything in the paperwork that directs that this money be placed in an interest-bearing account for your benefit?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you have her read it to me? Read to me the part of that you believe directs that this money be placed in an interest-bearing account for you. I don't see that in your paperwork, but if you believe that it's there, I'm asking you to read it to me, Ms. Frith.
Ma'am.
Just read it to me.
The undersigned understand that the parties hereby release admit no liability of any sort by reason of said accident, and that said payment and compromises made to terminate further controversy respecting all claims for damages that said minor or undersigned have heretofore asserted or might personally.
Correct. That's a general release. That means that your parents, on behalf of themselves and you, release the person who owned the dog from any further lawsuits.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all that says.
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't say that your parents are obligated to put the money in an interest-bearing account and turn it over to you when you're 18. If you had bills, if you had anything that was related to the dog bite, that money could be used for that, if they wished. I'm looking for a legal hook for you, and I don't see it.
Ma'am, what I was told is that if
you can't tell me what you were told. What you were told is hearsay.
If the money was not spent on me, then it shouldn't have been spent.
Is that what you think?
That's what I've seek legal counsel, and that's what I've been.
That's hearsay, and I can't help you with it.
They weren't living in a motel at the time.
I don't care whether they were or not.
It would have been put in an interest-bearing account if they actually taken it to court, but they just released the check believing that my parents would do what they were supposed to do.
Well, they didn't.
They didn't, and I'm upset.
I can see that you're upset. I can see that you're upset.
Yes, ma'am.
But what I'm telling you is you don't have a legal basis to be upset. You have a moral basis to be upset, but you don't have a legal basis to be upset. Your parents signed off on it, probably selfishly and stupidly, both of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this was fast money, and they didn't have to wait for the matter to go to trial, where they might have gotten some more money, but then the court would have been involved in setting up what they call a structured settlement for a minor. And the structured settlement for the minor would have said this money has to go into a certain kind of account and can only be touched in case of absolute necessity. Parents make mistakes all the time, and they act selfishly all the time, and that's what your mother and your father did. But that doesn't mean that you have a legal claim against your mother for half the money.
Well, that's what I believe the parents' release and indemnity agreement was.
No. Parents' release just says that they release the owner of the dog from any further liability in consideration of the $4,000 less attorney's fees.
Well, I'm the one that's left with the scars. They're not.
You're absolutely right. I said to you, you have a reason to be morally distressed, but not legally distressed. So, I understand your position, and I understand your consternation. What I don't understand is, I don't consider it a big deal that your father has paid your phone bill. And I don't think it's a big deal that your father has let his daughter live in his house when she's 17 and 18 years old, rent-free. That's not a big deal. If I could have gotten away with that with my children, I would be dancing a big old dance right now. And if your father is going to help you pay for school, that's what your father is supposed to do.
And that's what my mother's
That's
also
what you're supposed to do.
My mother's
and if your mother
also
is able,
supposed to
just
do
a
that.
second, and if your mother is able to, and she's not doing it, then she's not a good mother. That's not what we have courts for. What I'm telling you is your father is supposed to do whatever he's been doing for you.
And I have been helping, ma'am.
Well, I don't know how
You've
you've
been
helping.
helping, putting me in debt.
Just a second. Clearly, your daughter is angry with you for
She's very
something.
angry. Yes, ma'am.
for
She's very
something,
angry.
which I'm not getting into now
Right.
because, quite frankly, I don't care why she's angry with you.
Right.
Sometimes teenage girls get angry with their mother, and they don't get happy with their mother until they're 30. And they stay father just because. That's what happens.
Right.
And what happens? Yeah, sometimes.
That's what happens.
In any event, your father doesn't deserve any kudos for doing what he's supposed to do. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's supporting his child. How long have your parents been divorced?
9 years.
And who did you live with initially?
Well, we stayed with our mom, but I just
For how
ventured
long?
out with friends.
For how long did you stay with your mother?
I was 11 when I was about a year.
And after the year?
I moved in with some friends.
When you were how old?
12, 13, ma'am.
Yeah, that's
No. No.
You may have spent a lot of time with your friends, but I don't believe that when you were 11 or 12 years old you moved in with
She
friends.
lived with me.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
All right, Ms. Frith, I'm sorry, but you don't have a claim against your mother. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused the next 3:38 on the calendar in the matter of Calderon versus Calderon.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Calderon, this is your former wife, according to your complaint. Subsequent to your divorce, when all matters of finances had been resolved, your wife used a credit card that was in your name without your authorization, and it was a gas credit card, and according to you, in a very short period of time, a few days, she ran up a bill of well over $500. You want to be compensated for that. Ms. Calderon states in her answer that she believed that you left this card open for her because you were being a nice guy and you knew that she was struggling financially. Of course, you say that when you confronted her with it, her reaction was somewhat different. Can I see a copy of your judgment of divorce, please?
Yes.
You were married for 25 years?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Is that right? And you have kids?
Yes.
How many children?
2.
Grown? It is clear from the judgment of divorce that any and all liabilities incurred after December 14th of 2004 belong to each of you separately. Now, when were these credit card bills made?
October 13th through the 19th
Of 2005?
of 2005. I have a
Can I see them,
statement.
please? How did you become aware of them, sir?
I have received a letter of address change, and I knew that I had not changed my address. I didn't even know the credit card existed. And when I called them, they told me that I had requested to change my address, and I thought that there was something wrong with that and asked if there was any charges on the account.
Okay, Ms. Calderon, the ball is in your court. Explain it to me, please.
Basically, the reason that I was in the situation I was in is because I was so heavily in debt and destroyed from what he had done to me from this divorce, because he knew last year when my daughter graduated high school, my oldest daughter graduated college, and my oldest daughter got married, that I had put a lot of money into that. And
This has nothing to do
well,
with that.
but this is why I
Ms.
was.
Calderon,
This is why
this has nothing to do with that. This is not.
I would have
even,
never used it though.
This is not even a large amount of money. We're talking about a gas credit card where it's clear you allowed someone else to use this gas credit card.
I got gas for my kids. We were all struggling. He destroyed us all.
Just a second. In 4 days, you got gas for your children. You
Yeah.
have 2 children and yourself.
Right.
You filled up the cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know what's $98.20. That's not a car fill up. Or $83.
Or the case of oil.
A case of oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 times. Let us assume 3 people's cars. 13 times in a 4-day period. So, Ms. Calderon, don't play with me. This is not because you needed money.
Yes, it was.
When you enter into an agreement, and I assume that this was your agreement, it looks as if it was boilerplate clauses, you agreed that after December of 2004 you would not make any debts for the other party. You chose not to do that.
His friend told my daughter that he left the card open for me to use because he felt sorry for me because he knew how hard of a time I was having.
Oh, okay, well that's a different story. Is that person here today?
Yes.
Step up, sir. Tell me your name.
David Dover.
Mr. Dover, did you ever tell Mr. Calderon's daughter that this credit card was left open?
No, ma'am. I never knew the card existed. I never knew anything about it.
Step up. You're the daughter.
Yes.
Your name?
Angela Schubert.
Angela, tell me about this alleged conversation.
We were going to dinner for my birthday, and I was sitting in front, and we had just found out I was pregnant that day. It was August 18th. We picked up my dad from work, and we work at, well, it was before we picked him up for work. And we were just talking about the divorce, you know. I was trying to get to know him since, you know, he lives with my dad now. And he just happened to say, well, your dad did leave a gas card open for your mom. Because we didn't know, because all the gas cards were closed.
Let me ask you this question. Somebody must have been complaining about money.
No.
So, because the statement that you ascribed to this gentleman, well, this is what you said, well, your dad did leave a gas card open for your mom.
We were talking
is always a response to something said to him.
We were talking about how hard it was for everyone in the divorce, and how it happened. We were talking about how hard it was. And he said, well, you know, your dad left a gas card open for your mom, and, you know, to help her out a little bit.
And you went back and told her, shh.
I didn't tell her right away.
You didn't tell her right away. When did you tell her?
Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks tops.
Okay, so a week and a half, 2 weeks tops, you tell your mother. And your mother didn't have this credit card.
Yes, I do.
Just a second. You didn't have it. According to you, you found it. Listen to me. You found it. When did you find it?
I wasn't trying to use any of the credit cards.
When did you find it?
When she told me he left it open for me and we were having such a hard time.
Well, did you call him and say...
I can't. We don't communicate.
What do you mean? You don't have a telephone?
He communicates through the kids.
Before I would extend his credit based upon hearsay, I would have picked up a telephone or sent him a note. Is it true that I can use this credit card? I certainly would have at least, if I believed that it was true that he held open this credit card, Miss Calderon, I would have tried it for 1 month. He would have gotten the bill and he would have said, well, I have a $40 bill for gas. I wonder what this is from. But you didn't do that. You charged $500 worth of gas in 4 days. And then, according to your former husband, when he confronted you, because you did call her.
I actually contacted her via email. I don't call her. I had to change my number many times.
Fine. So you didn't?
But I did contact her.